Yo yo. So today I felt inspired to talk about meditation. My main inspiration for today's talk was Majjhima Nikaya 8, called effacement. I don't know how to pronounce it. I had to even Google the term. So a translation of that word would be wearing away. So the wearing away of desire, I'm pretty sure. But that's not what I'm going to be talking about. So the Buddha said two lines in that sutra that seemed really significant to me. Now, why am I taking these lines so seriously? Is because I trust the Nikayas. I think they're reliable, they're very precise. And I think when the Buddha said something, he was being precise about it. So the wording itself in those two lines seems to be very important. And he said, I'm gonna be paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure that what I'm gonna say right now is like 90% of how it was worded. But he said, one who sees the danger in sensual desire, right? Who sees the danger, but does not know a pleasure that does not depend on the senses, cannot fully abandon sensual desire. Then he says, one who sees the danger in sensual desire and knows a pleasure that is not of the senses can successfully uproot sensual desire. So what does that mean? What is a pleasure that is not of the senses? Well, that's anything from the first jhana to the fourth jhana, or any of the formless attainments or the cessation attainment. Basically, the Buddha said is unable to abandon sensual desire. So a mind that is not firmly established in jhana, no matter the insight, what I'm trying to say is, because a lot of people equate enlightenment with an insight, like insight into reality, right? Where in the Buddha sense, insight was supportive. Some people equate enlightenment with some sort of meditative attainment, like some sort of meditative state. While the Buddha says meditation is a supportive condition, and enlightenment is just the cessation of ignorance, of the fetters, of the defilements due to, well, seeing. And what my point was, basically, because I got a little carried away there, is that the Buddha directly stated that a mind that is not firmly established in some sort of non-sensual type of pleasure, such as meditation, so jhana, is unable to abandon sensual desire. Why is that? Well, because there's so much conditioning. See, the mind, every time something stressful happens or something hard happens in life, don't we usually try to do something nice, like we rely on a comfortable bed, a hot shower, something nice? The mind is used to soothe its boo-boos with sensual desire. And until the mind learns there is a pleasure that is not dependent on the senses, aka the pleasure of concentration, the pleasure of samadhi, right? Until the mind learns that for itself, not intellectually, but by directly experiencing such pleasure firmly established, then the fetter of sensual desire, so the move from once return to non-return and further, no matter how good your wisdom or insight, no matter, if jhana is not cultivated, that specific step cannot be made. Now, let's not confuse that with mistaking the jhana is a means to enlightenment, because it's not. It's a supportive tool. What does that mean? Jhana can be a necessary step, right, to abandon certain fetters such as sensual desire, and I even heard Sariputta saying this in many sutras. But jhana alone will not get you to full cessation, because then there's the higher fetters, clinging to jhana. So that's what the two fetters of clinging to form existence means, clinging to jhana, and clinging to formless existence means clinging to the formless attainments. So let's just imagine jhana is like a step. So in order to go from the lower to the upper fetters, and even the lower fetters, jhana helps obviously, but in order to fully abandon the 5 lower feathers, well-established jhana is actually necessary, because the mind needs sensual desire to temporarily be replaced by another pleasure. Otherwise, it's not gonna want to make the move. It needs a temporary replacement, and that temporary replacement is jhana. And Buddha literally said, cannot abandon sensual desire without it. So that's my point of this video. Meditation is important. Jhana is important. The Buddha directly said, one cannot abandon sensual desire without being firmly established in a pleasure that is not dependent on the senses. Because that comes first. That's why the feathers are abandoned in sequence. Because first sensual desire is abandoned, and then there's some people there. Try to not be too loud. Throwing me off. Broke my samadhi. Broke my concentration. But yeah, see how easy it is dependently originating. Like, I was talking about something, I was concentrated on it. The moment someone came, broke my concentration, because the echoes of self-preservation. I didn't want to be seen just talking into my phone. See, and that whole sequence happened and broke my train of thought. Just dependent origination doing its thing. But yeah, I think I basically said what I wanted to say. Jhana is important. You can't finish the path without at least being firmly established in first jhana that already has that pleasure associated with concentration. Until then, good luck. That's about it. Thanks for watching. See you in another video.